afternoon, Ms. Kinjal Pandya. Welcome to Health Education Library for People. I'd like to just get a small brief of today's lecture from you for our viewers.
Sure. Today's topic would be spiritual psychology. Why spiritual psychology? Because of lately I have noticed that, whatever said and done, people are going back to their roots. People are going back to religion to solve those unresolved issues in life which probably nobody could solve. And then you say it's miraculous, it was a magic that happened, we resorted to this particular way and we got our results. It was an impossible case to treat. It was a problem we would never come out of which, but we yet could, because we went back to this old technique of this particular XYZ person who follows this. So that led me to thinking as to what could that be. Basically, it was not that person who did any magic or did anything miraculous. It was you yourself who healed your wound, who healed and you made you capable of getting out of it. So that is why I thought it is something to do with that part of our psyche which definitely has that spiritual go within us to work out our issues. Spiritual psychology, I just introduced a few people here about what it was all about, but it was a brief introduction. Let's go on to the details of this. Today I'll be dealing with spiritual psychology that has to do with the spiritual aspect of the human psyche. It's also called as transpersonal psychology. So what is transpersonal? When you look at this terminological transpersonal, if you can just break it up into two parts, trans and personal. What is trans essentially? Trans is when you say that you're not in yourself, you get lost. You're lost somewhere, and when you are lost in that sense, it's a pleasurable way of losing yourself, wherein the botherations, the restlessness, the anxieties that we carry in our routine is somewhere not there, and we are somewhere lost into that peaceful state. Somewhere we are lost in that blissful state is called as trance. And personal is whatever is physically applicable to us, or at the physical level what you feel. So physical level plus that trance phase of yours, when it's mixed together in the right way, and even you psychologically deal to have that state of yours when in the transpersonal way, that's called transpersonal psychology or the spiritual psychology, because human beings essentially are nothing but spirits that, as I said in my last lecture I conducted last year, I believe, that was on soul connection, wherein I clearly said that we are all spirits and there are spirits around us as well. But it's like, because we have a body right now, we call ourselves human beings. Basically, more than human beings, we are spiritual beings. So we essentially cannot forget that fact of ours, that we are spiritual beings. So the other spirits, that is the reason sometimes you have some good experience visiting a place. Sometimes you feel just too sad to see a particular event or a phase. You have nothing to do with that. Physically, personally, you have nothing to do with it. But that spirit of yours is not somewhere comfortable, because the other spirits around are probably having some impact on that. So it's at that deep level. When you go and talk of mind, what is mind? Mind also has levels. So right now when we are talking, it's completely at the physical level, that I'm saying something, you all are listening to me, and you all are trying to understand, comprehend it, and trying to relate it to the way we understand a particular subject. But there are at times when you have those fears, you have those emotions that are buried within, that's at a subconscious level, which would be a very, very past, a gone by event, a gone by episode of life, maybe at your birth, sometimes even before your birth, past birth, and sometimes when you were an infant, a memory that has an impact, that has put your spirit, that has actually touched you somewhere very badly and has made you behave or made you the person that you are physically right now, is at a subconscious level. And a level which is even deeper than that, it's the unconscious level. The unconscious is the level wherein you have your genes, the genetic effect of what you call as, that's all accumulated and buried down there. So it might be your great grandfathers, their genes or their genetic problems or positives. Sometimes you say this, nobody in the family is like this, I don't know ये कहाँ से पैदा हो गई है, कहाँ से आ गई है. Probably she's exchanged, हम मजाक करते हैं कि हॉस्पिटल में she's changed, the babies are changed or exchanged. It's generally that it is that genes, which is the powerful genes maybe of that long back, yeah, great grandfather ka kahin se, which is probably now acting and it's now activating and showing that trait. So psychology, religion, spirituality. When I talk of all the three things are different in their own ways, yet they are three related to one another in one way or the other. When I say psychology, it has everything to do with, so the way I talk, the way I behave, the way I perceive things, the way I understand things. Like one person walking towards me, I can understand that this is a general walk. Maybe he just wants to go somewhere close to me. Other person might think that the guy is walking towards me, probably he wants to attack me. A third person might think that, oh, this guy is walking towards me, he wants to make friendship with me. So three people, three different thoughts, three different ways of perception of one single action. So psychology depends on the way you are, the way you can perceive things, the way your intellect goes, the way your natural surrounding has made you into a person that you are right now. Religion is something that has, again, that has also made a big impact on your thoughts, your actions, because sometimes, like, there are few people, there are few communities in which they would crave to go and eat non-vegetarian, they would crave to go and have taste alcohol, but because the religion doesn't permit, they don't do it. So maybe that person is not doing it, or maybe the person is in absolute good behavior, probably because a religion has its own impact on that person. So religion also plays a very important role in making your personality, and because the way you have perceived, the way the religion has been put into your head at that subconscious level when you were a child. And spirituality has nothing to do with religion in a way. Religion is one way to reach your spiritual goals or understand spirituality, but essentially spirituality has nothing to do with religion. In fact, I have always said, this is again that I am repeating, it is said, or it is rather proved, that atheists are supposed to be more spiritual than religious people, because they see the things the way they are. They don't see things from a religious perspective. That is what makes them spiritual in the true sense. Because if your heart feels pain for something, it's wrong. It's as simple. And if your heart is happy, it's right. They don't see whether this thing whether I'm feeling happy about is going against my religion, so I'm not supposed to be happy. It's so simple for them. But that is why spirituality, anybody with or without religion can acquire, and essentially each one has. But only thing, the time, the way they encounter that spiritual aspect of their life differs from individual to individual. So when I say spiritual psychology, it is a mixture of psychology in one hand and spirituality on the other hand. So what does essentially the actual psychology, the branch of psychology does? Psychology is a very nice that has come forward, because of which everything that used to happen from ages back has been put into proper black and white, has been put into those explanatory terms and ways which made it easier for people to understand, and which made people to make others understand as to why is XYZ the way he or she is. But psychology, what is the basic work of psychology? Psychology does what? It actually uncovers or reveals the hidden or the core issues a person has. For example, if you are constantly fighting with somebody, if you are constantly crying over something, then psychology is a wonderful technique, a superb way to let you understand that there is some hidden wound which you had ages back. Some episodes in your life act as triggers to scratch that wound back, and that is when you again start feeling sad, you again start feeling agitated, nervous, and that is why you end up crying, fighting, behaving what you really are not. So it has opened up, it has led you to the actual root cause of your problem. That whatever is your problem, whether you are somebody who is sleeping too much, or whether you are somebody who is constantly talking too much, or somebody who is not talking at all. So whatever is the problem, you have psychology in their own ways and means, with their techniques and therapies, they lead you to that core issue. But the drawback here is, after that, Of course, there are ample number of therapies. I'm a psychologist myself, so we have learned so many therapies to learn to deal with it, to make the person understand how to deal with it. But it's all at a physical level, because we all target the emotions and the behavior in one way or the other. But those deep wounds, as I said, sometimes what if it's a subconscious, sometimes what if it is genetic, then even that emotional part of it is not able to completely heal or get you over that wound. So it is at this point, it is at this junction that spirituality can play a wonderful role. So that there are certain aspects in your life which everybody has. We all have some issues in our life which are not solved. We are lingering, the thoughts are still lingering on that. Kash ye hua hota, I wish this would have happened in my life. I wish ये opportunity life से नहीं गई होती. I wish किसी ने जो life में मेरे साथ ऐसा बर्ताव किया नहीं किया होता. So everybody has, in one way, somebody has financial loss, somebody has human losses. Everybody has some aspect in their life which has that wounded part of theirs. Now some people can, because they physically remain very active and remain very goal oriented, they seem to have forgotten and have got over the issue. But it's not usually the thing. When they come to a retirement phase, when they come to that phase wherein the physical body cannot cope up to the demands, it's when the mind never stops working. See, your body stops working, your mind will not stop working. It is then when your mind will again throw back all those issues which you had somewhere buried, hidden, and things like that. So psychologically helping yourself can definitely help you at a physical level. It's not that psychology doesn't help. At times, clinical psychologist or psychiatry section also helps in giving your brain that at a physical level again the chemicals that are needed by putting in medicines and medications and all that. But as I said, nobody has gone that deep to that level to deal with your issues at a subconscious and your genetic, that is at an unconscious level. So it's spirituality which basically helps you in understanding that and helping you to deal with those issues which only you yourself can deal. We all have heard this, everybody say this, your mind is the most powerful medicine you have. We all say this, and to my astonishment, when I started, I had this very crazy habit of getting into all alternative therapies, at that first level, just to know what it is, because that curiosity, that the quest of knowing as to what basically this theory is all about. Let's go and see. So I have done part 1 of Art of Living, I have done part 1 of Reiki, part 1 of hypnotherapy. So these were part 1 of neuro-linguistic programming. So all these things, I have done even core somatic integration. Core somatic is the core, as I said, the basic, the last portion of your mind, the innermost portion of your mind leading to your physical ailments. So how you can merge the two together to get yourself healed. So I have done 1 levels of each of these, and I came to this conclusion that yes, it is mind that is basically working behind everything. It is no therapy is without using your application of mind, and that too not the mind of the therapist, the mind of the person in the problem itself, the victim itself. So all these alternate, be it yoga for that matter. If I put core somatic integration, what I have learnt in our ancient terms, then it's nothing but yoga. Correct? In yoga, because our yoga asanas, when we do, each and every asana needs us to concentrate and relax. So what does that mean? So, along with giving your physical self relief or stress, an exercise, it is also giving you that mental relaxation. So that is actually working. The yoga, which is our ancient technique, is actually working into mind and body integration, which is a perfect blend. So similarly, even acupuncture, everything. See, why certain parts of the body? Because those parts of the body, like if you have back pain, they give you puncture somewhere in your hand or your leg. At times you feel, how are they connected? It's your back pain, and why is your hand and some points in your hand and some points in your leg? But it is connected. So that means they know that this nerve goes somewhere which will heal that portion of your body, that the portion of your ailment. So everything, diet therapy, when you have diet therapy, what do they do? In everything that I have come across, they actually counsel you. They make your mind accustomed to you, to get prepared to heal. So it's the positivity, it's the mind which is prepared to find a solution, then you find a solution. But if you, again, like there are people who come to me with apprehensions. So somebody sent to me some client, somebody has referred and somebody comes to me. But now this person has come so much forcefully because everybody has recommended that you should see a psychologist, you should see somebody dealing with your problem. So this person doesn't believe in anything like that. But he still come because there was a strong push from his friends and family. So he's come to see me. Now this person has already come with a blocked mind कि इससे कुछ होने वाला नहीं है. She is not going to be helping me at all. So unless and until in our conversation I open up or I touch upon some issue in his life which he gets emotional about and which he has actually triggered that core in himself, he is not going to be open enough for the treatment. And how much ever I try or the best of the experts try, nothing is going to heal him. Because that person has come with that closed mind. So your mind is not ready to get healed, you cannot get healed. So what happens is basically when you say you reveal things, you wheel things out of your mind, it's like your mind has captured and has absorbed so much over the years, over the ages, over the births, I would say, that it has something of your own, something of your DNAs, and something of your past genes. So all these and experiences, of course, all these mixed together has blended, has had this weird mixture, and it has shown up into our problems, into the way we have issues with it. Sometimes you feel somebody has had 3 divorces. So you feel that he or she, then you always say that no, not only divorces, this particular lady or this particular gentleman even generally has problems with everybody. मतलब उसको friends के साथ problems होते हैं, has problems in this family also. So that means that person has problems in relationships itself. So it was nothing wrong with marriage, it was nothing wrong with the spouse, or nothing wrong with him as well. But there was one aspect of his life that just could not deal with people into his circle, whether friends or family, and he would keep, but because family cannot really throw him out, or family cannot really reject him, so family is there, but friends and the spouse or otherwise whoever has had an option would definitely move out of his or her life. So when you say all of these issues, what are these? Not necessarily that you've always seen a bad relationship of your parents, or at times maybe, you know, as I said, those genetic wounds or those subconscious memories of yours is acting, and you just cannot compromise to even smallest things of people around. So this is where you have issues. Now when you say revealing out, so when these things, after the psychology has done its work of pointing out to the cause, to the root cause of your issue, it is now the job of spirituality to take that in the positive aspect. Why positive aspect, and how what is spirituality, and how do you take it in the positive aspect? So what does spirituality exactly do is taking up any issue. Spirituality teaches you that probably that transformation in you would not have come if this episode would not have taken place. Like if everything goes cool and smooth in my life, like I have no problem studying, I have no problem marrying, I have no problem having children, I have no problem. So my basic things in life, what society has made for us, that you know you have to do these broad duties and things in life, is all done for me. So I would feel that yeah, everything is done for me. So the quest to get more and more would come somewhere when I'm 60 plus, 70 plus, wherein I will have nothing else to achieve. So, you know, my basic, all my obligations are over. It is then when I will start thinking. So as we have those ashrams in our Vedas, that, you know, last is supposed to be sannyas ashram. It is then when you go, you get into that sannyasi mode of life, you know, leave the sansar, and you start getting and peeping into yourself. So this is when everything in your life goes proper. So at that point of time, I think most of the things, because it was very simple living, lifestyle was very simple. So people used to generally have normal education, normal marriage, normal children, and would get retired at a normal age. Now because everything happens suddenly so fast, and then everything becomes suddenly so slow. So the whole energy or the whole time phase, the way it has to go, it's not divided, or it's not rather placed uniformly the way it used to be placed according to the Vedas, according to the Vedic scriptures. So what happens at times, you have traumatic experiences when a child is small, traumatic experience when a lady is just young or teenaged lady. So these events will not leave a person in a fit state to continue with the other obligations of life the way it has to come. It is not, even if they continue, the impacts of these will be very, very bad. So now this is where spirituality will teach you that probably somebody else in your place who would have had this need to get to the spiritual aspect at 60, you need to get in at the age of 20, which is fair enough. So that means your soul is calling for that. If you would not have had this experience in life, you would have never felt the urge, never felt the need to go and seek for something supernatural. So now if that event, when you say it is not a natural event, you know, if a 20-year-old lady is having this problem, it's not a natural thing to happen. So it is poor thing. We all say all sympathetic words and all sorts of sadness that we, when we express for the person. But ultimately, actually, if you see, there is a lot of positivity. That person has to mature far beyond even a 70-year-old or a 50-year-old person, because there is a dramatic event that has happened in this person's life, and he or she has learnt the basic facts, the hardcore truths of life because of that event. So if that event is taken in that aspect, there is a tremendous scope of spiritual growth for anybody who has faced that kind of an event. So this is how spirituality helps you making out how this event has helped you in your personal growth. Usually there are two types of people you must have seen in life. Somebody who's had bad experiences. So if you pick up two such people, both of them having bad experiences in their tender age, in their young age, one becomes an excellent, kind-hearted person who looks with love, sympathy and compassion with everybody, and other becomes a person who's extremely shrewd and extremely selfish, who wants to just hurt, harm and who wants to cause people some kind of a pain. Why? Because the one person who has taken it as a positive way, he understands that how kindness and compassion and love helps people come out of difficult situations, and because he somewhere had not got that, or maybe has got that and come out of it, he feels that it is a need to give that, and that actually helps him more than it helping the other person. It is helping him heal over the issue he has had at that tender age. The other person who is working at a complete physical level, that if I have faced this, how can other people be happy? So let people understand what pain is all about. So let me cause them pain and let me understand. So that is a person who's only operating at a very, very physical level. So now this person, it's a long way for this person to actually have this spiritual calling, or to understand, or this person cannot be even healed, meaning it will be very difficult for anybody to even deal with this person at a spiritual level, because that spirituality is something which comes to a person. It's a natural calling, and it is some episode like this in life which actually diverts or is an indication that is leading you there. So whenever anybody is upset, even if you are upset for that matter, there is always a positive thought behind this being sad or upset, that if I'm upset, sometimes you're upset for no reason, isn't it? It happens, right? We try and figure out everything is fine, no, everything is happening so good in my life, then why am I sad? Then that is the time you have to really understand, if you're still upset, when everything is fine in your life, then that means there is some hidden urge, there is something that is deep within stored which is calling your attention. And this is when you actually is a time that one hidden issue is going to get revealed. So haven't you all seen when people get into deep meditation, sometimes forget meditation, even when we are into religious places like temple, mosque or wherever, you just cry? Yeah. Haven't your people experienced it? Some people do that. So I have done this because I don't cry in front of people. So for me to cry, there are two places. I either cry when I'm alone in front of facing the deity, God, or when I'm in bathroom. So these are two places that I usually love to cry, because I don't want anybody to see me crying. But why do we cry like that? So it's when you're alone, it's you who is facing yourself. So you are not afraid of yourself. So you are crying, you're just talking to yourself, your soul, and you're kind of discussing out your problems, that this is what is, I'm not feeling good, what's wrong with me, I'm feeling helpless, or I'm feeling just too sad, something of that sort. Similarly, at times you're just standing in front of the deity, in front of your God, and you're not even asking for anything, but you're just crying. So what is that? That means there is something that you don't even know. See, at a human level, you don't even know what is something that was at that core level, which was bothering you, or which has had a bad or deep impact on you. But yeah, when you're crying, it is venting out. You're venting out. It's getting out of your system. So when you cry often, it is an indication that the toxins which these things had caused, the bad episodes of your life had caused, or the genetic issues that were caused, is going out. It's a positive sign to be taken. And this is when, and after that, all of a sudden you feel very good. After crying that way, you feel very good when you're out of that temple or religious place. And even while conversing with somebody, if you happen to just vent out and cry out, after which you feel very nice. You feel that, oh yes, you have. When I did hypnotherapy, I remembered one of our students, one of the ladies who was in that deep sleep, who was taken down in that deep sleep, and she was crying crazily. We all got so scared looking at her, because we've all gone from 9 to 6 session, and we are trying to learn hypnotherapy. So the person the therapist actually made her get into that deeper level, that thought process. So when this lady went into that deeper level, she actually could find out so much about herself, or maybe it was not even her, maybe something that she witnessed, and she could actually see some blood around her and things like that. Maybe it was her past, maybe it was something that she's seen when she was a child, but probably that event, probably that particular scene that she was describing to all of us was something that somehow has had a very bad impact on her. But moment that was done, she was so much sorted. Yeah, she felt bad initially, because crying in front of so many strangers and revealing something like this, others might feel she's out of her mind. What is she saying? I mean, maybe but we could actually, when you're crying and you're conscious about it, you open your eyes to see, and you just wipe out your tears. Her eyes were deeply closed, and she kept on crying. It was a bad sobbing that we could witness. So this is what is the meaning of getting your buried or the unresolved issues out and dealing with it. So basically spiritual psychology deals with that, and that helps you. How does it help you further? It helps you in looking at everybody without any biases, without any restrictions and blockages in your mind. So when I say spiritual psychology, nowadays the amount of religious preachers we have around, they are also more or less doing the same thing. The only catch or the only hindrance is that each one is advocating that particular religion which he or she is following. So this is where things which are supposed to go on the track of healing people somewhere gets into development of vengeance or hatred for people of other faiths, people who are believers of other faiths. So this is where things are not working in the right manner. That's exactly why it is said that instead of going and healing, getting yourself healed from a religious preacher who knows spirituality but unfortunately doesn't know psychology. So he is trying to heal you. Definitely he or she is trying to heal you at that spiritual level. But psychologically he is also putting in lot of negatives for other people in the world. So how good is that healing when you are in a way helping to love yourself? It's very good when you are loving yourself. It's very good to like and get yourself completely light within. But that lightness, that place that you have evacuated with your own issues, now you are trying to refill it by having hatred and negatives about other people around. So it's not really making a sense. It's not really working in the way it ideally should. So this is one benefit or one major aspect what spiritual psychologists do. Secondly, they will not try and make you dependent on anything. Like for example, because as I said, we just saw 2 slides back that one person is, or the mind of one person is wholly and solely responsible or is able to deal with their issues. So if I know that the healing capacity is within you, Why should I make you dependent on me as a therapist and make you come to me every now and then for all your problems just to make my business going on, just to make my profession going on? I mean, that's not what a profession, that's not what this field is all about. This field is essentially for people to realize, to understand that, see, you are the one who can definitely take care of it. I'm helping you to just find a path to that. So once I have helped you find a path through that, see, life is going to be all about events. Right now, if you have cleared your issues till date, not that tomorrow you are not going to face anything. You might still face some up and down in your life. But once you know how to deal with it, you will be able to deal with it as effectively, and you will not have to really again run behind somebody who's again healing you and things like that. So this is what a spiritual psychology actually helps the person in dealing with. So this was very nice, which I found matching to what my whole talk was. My soul is a candle that burnt away the wheel. So when you peep inside your soul, and when you can actually try getting in touch with it, it can actually uncover, it can actually, actually throw dust out all that which was there as a layered thing, which was so much untrue. All the things that people have put in our heads and which has made an impact on our soul, that has remained with us because we've never tried peeping within and clearing out the dust. Once you clear it out, it is only then when you see the glorious duties of light that I now have. Now, why do you think what Gandhiji could do, what we all cannot do? Probably because he was the person who had already burnt away that wheel long back. Maybe that South Africa incident was one which helped him in burning it. But again, because it was at a very tender age, he could do it, and he started working totally towards helping people. And see, when he did that, I would not say that he's done something for us. It was something for his soul. And he did this for his soul, which definitely helped other souls surrounding. So what is spirit basically meant for? It is one, because in the end, what spirit is all about, that we are all connected to that one whole. So if I'm helping someone, why is it that even when I'm not getting paid for some good work, for some helping work, I feel that is the best day of my life? And even sometimes when you get the best paycheck of your life, but at times you don't get that kind of happiness which you were looking at, because when you did that selfless act of helping somebody without taking any money or without you getting anything in return, you know at that soul level that you have helped another soul, and that is what is really making you happy. So this is just clearly that. So if once we get rid of all the layered up false things that we have, we can really do this. So this is something I love. I looked in temples, churches and mosques, but I found the divine in my heart. So it's something that's so true, that if you don't have love for each one around, and if you still keep on having negative thoughts about people around you, what use is that divinity that you so-called you get by visiting these places? Now there are so many people heading for pilgrimages, but when I see they actually hurt each other to get into that queue. They hurt each other to come first. No, but then they don't understand that. So what are you here for? To hurt somebody? So the living being is being crushed under the feet of thousands of people, and then you are going and bowing down in front of that deity, and you are expecting to get peaceful at the end of the day? No. Thank you so much. Thank you.